First contact gone wrong. Sarah Chen never planned to be a hero. Flying cargo through the outer rim paid the bills and kept her far from Earth's overcrowded megacities. Her ship, the Wanderlust, wasn't much to look at, a patchwork of repairs and modifications that somehow kept flying. But it was home. The distress signal changed everything. Standard protocol said to ignore it. Too many pirates used fake distress calls as bait, but something about this one seemed different. The signal pulsed with an alien pattern she'd never encountered in 15 years of deep space hauling. Just a quick scan, Sarah muttered, adjusting the Wanderlust's course. The signal led her to an asteroid field at the edge of chartered space. There, nestled between two massive rocks, she spotted it, a ship of clearly alien design, its sleek purple hull marred by weapons damage. Her scanner picked up a single life sign, faint but persistent. Sarah docked with practiced precision, sealed her environment suit, and crossed to the alien vessel. The airlock cycled open to reveal corridors lined with crystalline growths that emitted a soft bioluminescence. She found the survivor in what appeared to be a control room. The alien lay crumpled beside a shattered console, violet blood pooling beneath translucent scales. 4 arms, digitigrade legs, and a crest of iridescent feathers marked it as unlike any species humanity had encountered. The alien's eyes snapped open, vertical pupils in silver irises. It spoke, a musical language Sarah couldn't understand. But the universal gesture of reaching out for help needed no translation. "Easy there," Sarah said, kneeling beside the injured alien. "I got a medkit on my ship. Can you walk?" The alien struggled to rise, then fell back with a chirping cry of pain. Sarah didn't hesitate. She scooped up the surprisingly light form and carried it back to the Wanderlust. Only after settling the alien in her medbay did she notice the intricate patterns adorning its scaled skin, or the remnants of what appeared to be ceremonial garments. The alien was trying to tell her something, gesturing urgently between bouts of what seemed to be unconsciousness. Sarah activated her ship's translation matrix, hoping it could decode the alien language. "Must hide. They come. Rebellion." The translation was fragmentary, but enough to raise the hair on Sarah's neck. She'd stumbled into something far bigger than a simple rescue. Her instincts proved right as 3 ships dropped out of FTL nearby. Sleek predatory vessels of the same alien design. They broadcast no identification and ignored her hails. "Hang on," Sarah told her unconscious passenger, strapping into the pilot's seat. "This is going to get rough." The Wanderlust's engines roared as Sarah pushed them to full power, threading through the asteroid field. The pursuing ships fired, purple energy beams slicing through space around them. Sarah's cargo hauler wasn't built for combat maneuvers, but she'd learned a few tricks over the years. She cut power, letting momentum carry them as she rotated the ship to fire a spread of mining charges behind them. The explosion scattered chunks of asteroid into their pursuer's path. One ship clipped a rock and spun out of control. The others fell back, giving Sarah the opening she needed to jump to FTL. As the stars blurred around them, Sarah checked on her passenger. The alien's breathing had steadied, aided by the medkit's universal healing matrix. Those silver eyes opened again, more focused now. "Thank you," the alien said, the translation much clearer. "I am Velasarin, though that name may bring you trouble now." "Sarah Chen," she replied. "Want to tell me who's trying to kill you?" "Those who would destroy everything my people have built, led by my own brother. They would have us join the corporate worlds, selling our biotechnology to the highest bidder." Velasarin's feathered crest rippled. Was, voice of the harmony, what your people might call a princess." Sarah groaned. She'd just rescued and made enemies of people trying to kill an alien princess. So much for staying out of trouble. But looking at Velasarin, seeing the determination in those alien eyes, Sarah knew she couldn't just walk away. "Well, Your Highness," she said, checking the ship's navigation. "Where to now?" There are others who still support the harmony. If we can reach them. Velisaren swayed, strength fading. But the journey will be dangerous. Sarah smiled grimly. Dangerous is what I do best. Rest now. You'll need your strength. As her passenger drifted into healing sleep, Sarah plotted a course deeper into uncharted space. She had a feeling this was just the beginning of a much bigger adventure, and somehow a simple cargo pilot from Earth had become the protector of an alien princess on the run. The universe, it seemed, had a strange sense of humor. Trust among stars. The Wanderlust's engine hummed as Sarah guided them through the purple haze of the Veil Nebula. The charged particles played havoc with sensors, making it the perfect place to hide, and the perfect place for an ambush. Velisaren stood behind the pilot's chair, her feathered crest rippling with tension. The alien princess had recovered quickly, thanks to her species' remarkable healing abilities. The sanctuary outpost should be 2 light minutes ahead. If any of the Harmony remain loyal, we'll find them there. Sarah checked their dwindling fuel reserves. Let's hope you're right. We're running on fumes. A warning light flashed. Sarah's hands flew across the controls as 3 ships emerged from the nebulous clouds. Her heart sank when she saw their profile. Corporate world vessels, sleek and deadly. Your brother's working with the corporations already? Sarah asked, executing a defensive role. Talik was always ambitious. Velisaren's musical voice carried notes of sadness. He never understood our ways. The Harmony isn't just about preserving our biotechnology. It's about maintaining balance with the living universe itself. The corporate ships opened fire, their energy weapons ionizing paths through the nebula. Sarah dove the Wanderlust into a particularly dense cloud, using the charged particles to scatter their targeting sensors. They're hurting us, Sarah realized. There's something big hiding in that gas giant's shadow. A massive vessel emerged from behind the gas giant, a corporate world dreadnought. Its hull bristled with weapons, and its hangar bays were launching fighters. No way out, Sarah muttered. Then she noticed something, a pattern in the nebulous currents. Unless, Velisaren, your people's ships use biotech, right? They can sense energy fields. Yes, but the nebula's full of magnetic eddies. If we time this right. Sarah's fingers danced across the controls, plotting an impossible course. Strap in. She pushed the Wanderlust's engines past their safety limits. The ship screamed through the nebula, riding the magnetic currents like a surfer catching waves. Behind them, the corporate ships tried to follow and found themselves caught in the violent eddies. 2 fighters broke apart as opposing magnetic fields tore at their hulls. The dreadnought fired blindly, its heavy weapons further destabilizing the nebula. Sarah wove through the chaos, letting the natural forces do most of the work. They emerged from the nebula near the sanctuary outpost, only to find it dark and seemingly abandoned. But Velisaren's silver eyes widened. There, that pattern in the station's power emissions, it's a recognition signal. The station's hidden defenses powered up, not targeting them, but rather creating a protective screen against their pursuers. A docking bay opened like a flower blooming. Inside, they found not the military force Sarah expected, but a handful of civilian researchers and their families. Velisaren's people, the Harmonious, gathered around their princess with gentle touches and musical trills of relief. The corporate forces attacked 3 days ago, explained Colin, the station's lead researcher. Most of our warriors fell defending the outer colonies. We're all that's left of the free Harmony. Sarah watched Velisaren move among her people, offering comfort and renewed hope. The princess caught her eye and smiled, an expression she'd learned from Sarah. We can't stay here long, Sarah said. Once they realize they lost us, they'll sweep the whole sector. Then we'll need to strike first, Velisaren replied. My brother believes he's hunting me. He doesn't realize I'm hunting him, gathering evidence of his corporate ties. Evidence that will show our people the true cost of his ambitions. About that, Colin interjected. We've discovered something in our latest research. The corporations don't just want our biotechnology. They found a way to interface it with their neural networks. If they succeed, they could control any living system. Velasurin finished. Ships, stations, even entire ecosystems. Sarah felt a chill. So much for staying out of trouble. She turned to Velasurin. "What's our next move, Your Highness?" The princess's feathers rippled with determination. "We go to the heart of it all. The corporate worlds themselves. Their arrogance makes them blind. They'd never expect us to strike at their center of power." Callan's crest flattened in alarm. "But the defenses can be bypassed," Sarah interrupted, a plan forming. "My ship's a registered cargo hauler, with some modifications to hide your biosignatures." She grinned. "How do your people feel about playing stowaway?" For the first time since their rescue, Velasurin laughed, a sound like wind chimes in a storm. "You continue to surprise me, Sarah Chen. Perhaps there's hope for our peoples yet." As the Harmonious began modifying the Wanderlust with their biotechnology, Sarah watched Velasurin coordinate the effort. The alien princess had grown stronger since their first meeting, her royal bearing tempered with a warrior's resolve. Sarah touched the worn control panel of her ship, wondering what other surprises the universe had in store. She'd started this journey as a simple cargo pilot. Now she was smuggling alien refugees on a mission to prevent corporate domination of living systems. Just another day in the Outer Rim, she thought with a smile. The real question was, what would tomorrow bring? The human factor. The corporate world's central shipping hub was a monument to excess. Massive space stations orbited a manufactured sun, their chrome surfaces reflecting artificial light. Security checkpoints dotted the shipping lanes like stars. Sarah watched through the Wanderlust's view screen as another cargo ship underwent inspection. Her modified transponder identified them as a registered biomass hauler. Technically true, though not in the way the authorities assumed. In the cargo hold, Velasurin and her people lay dormant in biopods of their own design. The pods masked their life signs while sustaining them in a hibernation state. Sarah had to admit, there was something beautiful about how the Harmonious technology blended form and function. "Cargo vessel Wanderlust," a bored voice crackled over the comm. "Proceed to inspection point L-7. Sarah kept her voice steady. "Copy that, Control. Beginning docking procedures." The inspection team consisted of 3 corporate security officers and a scanning drone. Sarah met them with practiced casualness, displaying her legitimate shipping credentials. "Biomass shipment." The lead officer checked his tablet. "Haven't seen many of those lately." "Specialized algae cultures," Sarah explained. "Some research facility ordered them. Above my pay grade to know why." The drone swept through the cargo hold, its sensors probing the biopods. Sarah held her breath. The Harmonious assured her their camouflage would work, but corporate technology had surprised them before. The drone paused, sensors flickering. For a heart-stopping moment, Sarah thought they'd been discovered. Then the device moved on, completing its sweep without incident. "All clear," the officer announced. "Proceed to your designated berth." Once they were alone, Sarah released a shaky breath. Phase 1 complete. Now came the hard part. She activated the secure comm channel Colin had created. "We're in. Starting Phase 2. The biopods opened silently, revealing Velasurin and 5 other Harmonious. Their feathered crests were slick with suspension fluid, but their eyes were alert and determined. "The neural control center will be heavily guarded," Velasurin said, checking the stolen schematics. "But their arrogance works in our favor. They never expected anyone to reach this far." Sarah unfolded a compact device she'd built from salvaged parts. "This signal interceptor should get us through the automated security. After that, we improvise." Velasurin finished with a very human grin. They moved through maintenance corridors, the Harmonious natural camouflage abilities complementing Sarah's technical tricks. When they encountered security systems, Sarah's jury-rigged devices created false readings. When they needed access to restricted areas, the Harmonious used their biotechnology to interface with and temporarily subvert the local systems. But their luck couldn't last forever. As they approached the Neural Control Center, an alarm shrieked through the station. Multiple breaches detected, a computerized voice announced. Security protocols engaged. They've discovered the other teams, Velociraptor said. The diversionary attacks they'd arranged were meant to draw attention away from their true objective. But now time was against them. Sarah's mind raced. The ventilation system. They use it to regulate temperature around the quantum processors. If we can reach the main junction, we can use it to deliver the viral payload directly into their neural network, one of the Harmonious scientists finished. But the junction will be heavily guarded, Sarah confirmed. Good thing I brought this. She pulled out her last surprise, a modified mining charge. They fought their way to the ventilation hub, corporate security forces closing in from all sides. The Harmonious biological weapons were devastating in close quarters, while Sarah's technical skills kept the automated defenses confused and divided. At the junction, Sarah planted the charge while Velociraptor prepared the viral payload, a biological computer virus that would expose the Neural Control Project and broadcast the evidence across all corporate networks. On detecting a massive power surge, one of the Harmonious warned, "They're activating the Neural Control System." "Not yet. They're not." Sarah triggered the charge. The explosion ripped through the junction, creating the opening they needed. Velociraptor launched the payload, her own consciousness guiding it through the station's systems. For a moment, nothing happened. Then every screen in the station flickered to life, displaying the truth about the corporate-backed coup and the planned subjugation of all living systems. "It's done," Velociraptor said softly, "but they'll still try to contain it." Sarah was already moving. "Then let's not be here when they do." They fought their way back to the Wanderlust, corporate forces in chaos as the revelation spread. But one obstacle remained, a massive corporate warship moving to block their escape. "Their weapons are powering up," Sarah reported grimly. "We'll never outrun them." Velociraptor touched the ship's hull, where Harmonious biotechnology had merged with human engineering. "Perhaps we don't have to." The princess closed her eyes, connecting with the hybrid systems. The Wanderlust's engines pulsed with new energy as biological and mechanical components worked in perfect sync. They shot past the corporate warship's defenses, riding waves of possibility that neither human nor Harmonious technology could achieve alone. As they jumped to safety, Sarah looked at Velociraptor in amazement. The princess smiled. "It seems our peoples have more to learn from each other than anyone suspected." The revolution had begun, but its true impact would reach far beyond one alien princess and her human protector. The age of separation was ending. The real question was, what would take its place? Turning the tide. The evidence spread like wildfire across the corporate networks. Sarah and Velociraptor's revelations sparked uprisings on dozens of worlds. But Talek, Velociraptor's brother, wasn't finished. His response was swift and brutal. "He's attacking the outer colonies," Velociraptor announced, monitoring the bioenhanced communications, using the neural control technology he already has in place. The Wanderlust hybrid systems displayed horrifying footage. Entire ecosystems turned against their inhabitants. Plants became predatory. Atmospheric bacteria grew hostile. Talek was demonstrating the price of resistance. "We need to shut down the control nodes," Sarah said, studying the tactical display. "But they'll be expecting that, which is why we attack the one place they won't expect." Velociraptor's silver eyes gleamed. The homeworld itself, the Harmonious homeworld, Symphonia, was a jewel of biological engineering. Its cities were grown, not built, rising from the planet's surface like crystal formations. Now those same cities had become prisons, their every living component controlled by Talek's neural network. But the Harmonious weren't alone anymore. Sarah's transmission had reached other human colonies in the Outer Rim. Independent traders, research stations, and frontier settlements, all those who feared corporate domination, rallied to their cause. The battle for Symphonia began in orbit, A fleet of modified cargo ships and research vessels, led by the Wanderlust, engaged Talik's corporate forces. The hybrid technology Sarah and the Harmonious had developed gave them an edge, allowing them to predict and counter the automated defense systems. Their flagship shields are down. Sarah called. "We have our opening." The Wanderlust dove through the chaos of battle, its hull glowing with biological energy. They crash-landed in the capital city's central spire, where Talik had established his command center. "Brother," Velasurin's voice rang out as they fought their way through the transformed city. "Face me." Talik appeared on a balcony above them, his feathered crest now augmented with cybernetic implants. "Sister, still clinging to the old ways? Look around you. This is evolution." The air itself seemed to thicken as Talik exerted his control over the city's systems. Walls became weapons, floors turned fluid. Sarah's hybrid technology fought against the neural network, while the Harmonious rebels used their natural abilities to maintain control of their own bodies. "Evolution," Velasurin challenged, advancing despite the city's attacks. "You've enslaved our world to machines. I've made us stronger." Talik's implants pulsed with power. "The corporations gave us the means to control all living things. We are becoming gods." Sarah, working to override the neural network's local controls, saw her opening. "Gods shouldn't bleed," she muttered, triggering her final override. The city's systems faltered for just a moment, but it was enough. Velasurin launched herself at her brother, their battle becoming a blur of feathers and energy. Sarah's virus wormed its way through the neural network, giving the enslaved systems a chance to resist. The tide turned not through force, but through choice. One by one, the living components of the city rejected Talik's control. The neural network couldn't maintain its hold against the natural drive for freedom. Talik fell, his implants overloading as his control slipped away. Velasurin caught him before he hit the ground. "It's over, brother. Let go." "You don't understand," he gasped. "The corporations won't stop. They'll never stop." "No," Sarah agreed, joining them. "But neither will we." As the neural network collapsed across Symphonia, Sarah watched Velasurin tend to her fallen brother. The princess had won back her world, but the real work was just beginning. The corporations would regroup, develop new weapons, but they'd shown that humanity and the Harmonious, working together, could achieve things neither species could alone. The revolution wasn't over. It was evolving. A bridge between worlds. 3 months after the Battle of Symphonia, Sarah stood in the newly grown Chamber of Harmony. The room was a perfect blend of biological and mechanical engineering, symbolic of the changes sweeping through both human and harmonious space. "The corporate forces have withdrawn from the outer colonies," she reported to Velasurin. "Your brother's testimony exposed their entire operation. Even their shareholders are demanding changes." Velasurin, wearing the living crown of her people, nodded. "And what of the human colonies?" "Growing stronger. The hybrid technology we developed is revolutionizing everything from agriculture to space travel. Turns out there's a lot of people who prefer working with nature instead of trying to control it." They walked together through the chamber, their footsteps echoing on the crystal floor. Outside, the capital city was healing, its scars transformed into new growth. Talik, stripped of his implants, was helping to restore the damaged ecosystems, his first steps toward redemption. "The corporations will try again," Velasurin said. "Perhaps not today or tomorrow, but they will never stop seeking control." "Maybe," Sarah agreed, "but they're not the only ones evolving." All around them, evidence of that evolution was taking shape. Human engineers worked alongside harmonious bioshapers, creating technologies that neither species could have imagined alone. The Wanderlust, now a prototype for a new class of hybrid ships, stood as proof that there was a third path between pure nature and pure machine. A group of human children ran past, their laughter mixing with the musical trills of young Harmonious. They were part of a new exchange program, learning each other's ways from an early age. "Did you ever imagine this?" Velasurin asked, watching the children play. when you first answered my distress call." Sarah smiled. "I was just trying to stay alive and keep you safe. Changing the course of two civilizations wasn't exactly in my flight plan." "And now," Sarah looked out at the horizon, where new possibilities stretched as far as the eye could see. "Now I think we're just getting started." Velocirin touched the wall, sending ripples of bioluminescence through the living crystal. The old stories speak of a time when all life was connected, before consciousness drew boundaries between species. Perhaps we're not evolving forward, but remembering what we once were. "And what we could be again," Sarah added. Above them, the first of the new hybrid ships took flight, its hull shimmering with the combined power of two civilizations that had chosen to grow together rather than fight. It was a symbol of hope, a promise that sometimes the best way to protect what you love is to help it change. The universe, Sarah reflected, still had a strange sense of humor. She'd started this journey trying to save one life and ended up helping to birth a new future. But looking at the children playing below, at the city growing in harmony with its technology, at the pride in Velocirin's silver eyes, she knew she wouldn't have it any other way. The story of humanity and the harmonious was just beginning. And this time, they would write it together.